Okay, so taking a tip from what my dad did before he passed away, I'm going to start recording some YouTube videos for my two little girls, Christine and Victoria. So I'm going to start with my eldest. She's 10. I can't believe it's taken me this long to do this. She is Christine Irene Nunez and the light of my life, born August 2nd, 2000. August 4th, 2006. Oh my gosh, did I really just forget my kid's birthday? That's pretty terrible. Thankfully, though, I've never actually forgotten her birthday. Every single birthday, she's always felt super special, and usually for the whole week leading up to that. And if we have to kind of celebrate the birthday after the fact, we'll do that too, and she always feels super special. So that's definitely something that we have decided that we were going to do with her. Anyways, I wanted to talk a little bit about her birth. So I woke up really early on August 4th, I would say around 5 a.m., and I started having labor pains, what I thought were labor pains. I wasn't really sure. It was my first kid. I was 21. I was in pretty good shape. So I didn't really know what it was. Anyways, I talked to my mom and I counted what I thought were contractions, and they were pretty far spaced apart, and my mom told me you should probably go back to sleep and you should get some rest. And so at this point, this was about a week and a half past my due date, and they weren't going to wait much longer. So I was really hoping, like, ooh, because I wanted a natural birth, and I didn't want an induction, I didn't want an epidural or anything like that, so I figured that the less intervention, the better in that department. So anyways, woke up again that morning, and I was kind of like, this isn't feeling super hot, and my mom, much to my angst, kept making me go for walks. Like, let's walk. Let's just keep walking it out. Walk. And I remember being in the bedroom, and I fell asleep on my mom's bed, and we had some Brazilian ladies in the house, and they were actually our cleaning crew, and we had built a relationship with them. So I had seen them every week during my pregnancy, and they were so sweet and supportive. It was a mother and a daughter, and team. And I remember the daughter talking to me, and I spoke Spanish, so I could understand some Portuguese, and she was telling me I was kind of aching and having some aches and pains in my labor, and I was laying in bed and I was being whiny, and she was like, I had my first baby at 14 and it was the best experience, and it hurt really bad, but you can get through it. And I was just like, man, if this lady could have a kid at 14 and I'm 21, that gives me 7 years after her, I think I can hack it. I was like, that kind of gave me some reality. It was like a slap in the face, come on, suck it up and do it. So I would squat through my labor. I remember my cousin saying squat, try to thin cervix, do all this and that, and I was like, oh my God, this is killing me. And all through this, I had been told by my first OBGYN that after an ultrasound, this woman, now mind you, was a veteran of delivery. She was like a 30-year OBGYN, something crazy. And you have a boy here, blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, so you're gonna find out that, well, I guess it's pretty obvious that I ended up having a girl, because I just told you it's for my daughter, Christine. So, anyways. So then I started having pains, and I was walking around the house, and my mom's like, I don't think you're going to be able to do this. Oh, you seem like you're too whiny. Let's go to Tanger Outlet. They're having an opening weekend, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, son of a gun, this doesn't feel good. And then I remember my dad walking through the door for lunch, and he was a chiropractor. He came right through the door, and he looked at me, and he was like, this girl is going to have a baby. Now. And he had delivered 2 out of his 4 kids. Well, I think almost 3 out of his 4 kids. So he kind of knew, and he was brilliant with biology and chemistry and physiology and everything like that. So he was no dummy dumb. So we loaded up into the car, into the Suburban, And my poor brother, Paul, was driving like a raging lunatic. And I was screaming all the while, and my mom was just trying to get me to breathe, and I was like, nope. And then I remember while we were driving there, I saw somebody I actually knew on the road. I was like, oh, I know that guy. That distracted me slightly, which was kind of nice. And then I went back to like the pain. And I remember when we arrived at the hospital, I felt like a huge pressure, and out came the amniotic sac. And then it burst. And then that was when I was like, oh, this is jacked up. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to hold this baby in. She was coming. And whether I liked it or not, I got to the hospital. They tore my pants off. I don't know if my brother had time to get out of the room or not. Poor kid. It's been traumatized her life. And I had that baby like bang. Like boom. And I remember they didn't follow my birth plan at all. They were like giving me a shot for Pitocin after I gave birth. And I was like, lady, what the heck? Get away from me. And they were trying to take the baby the whole time. And I just told my mom, keep an eye on the baby. I'll be fine. And then I remember I almost kicked the nurse in the face while apparently this lady was trying to stitch me up and didn't give me any warning. So I almost kicked her in the face, and I remember her looking at me like, you almost kicked me. And I was like, well, don't poke me in my delicate parts if you know what's good for you. Get the heck out. So then she was like, you don't really want this, do you? And I was like, no, I don't want you to stitch me up, you big joik. So anyways, she left me alone. I healed beautifully, naturally, on my own, completely. I tore, I think, a little bit. So I remember that was very painful, trying to go to the bathroom. And when you have essentially an open wound down in your nether regions. So anyways, out came little Christine, little squishy squish. And I remember her eyeball was kind of like down here. And it was like, kind of looking like a Quasimodo thing going on there. And my dad got to the hospital, and he was just kind of like, hey, sis. Chrissy's eye was dislocated, and I just kind of popped it back into place. And I was like, I thought it was looking funky. I didn't want to say anything, because of course I was like, oh, she's perfect. Oh. Instead I was like, ugh. I thought I was going to have to, drop her off at a church in France and leave her there with a grumpy old man, priest. I don't know. I was going to have to. So anyways, that is the story of little Christine. She was as easygoing. She breastfed right away, skin to skin. She didn't have like a lick of jaundice. She was super healthy every time they checked her vitals, even though she was only 5 pounds, 13 ounces, tiny, tiny, tiny baby, full term. And just as sweet as could be. I'm trying to think of what else they did with that little sweet peanut. They just really left me alone. The doctor tried to come in and talk to me about vaccinating, and I said no politely, and I had done my own research, so she's a second gen, so it was pretty interesting, especially because I was so exhausted, and they just kept coming. I was like, oh, give me a break. But I remember coming to, I had chosen a name for a boy. I had spent 9 months, well, not 9 months, I would say I spent a good 4 months picking out the perfect boy name. And yet, I had nothing for a girl because it was supposed to be a boy, thanks to that lady, that doctor. I don't even remember her name anymore. And so I don't remember what happened, but I seem to vaguely remember Uncle Paul suggesting the name Christine from Phantom of the Opera. And that was what stuck. And I wanted her to have a little something from my mother and my mom's side. And that was that. And she was a gem.